Again, happy Monday. So today I'm going to talk about a subject that has permeated a lot of my videos, but I never really dove deep into it. And I've never made a video specifically dedicated to this topic, which is whatever experience you're having, whatever you're learning, you need to be sure that you're linking that experience, that knowledge, that learning, those lessons with feelings. In other words, you want to be able to generate and put yourself in situations where you're generating emotion from what you're experiencing. Because the emotion is really what's going to allow you to learn at a very deep level. Think about it like this. If you're undergoing traumatic experiences, if you have amazing memories, in both of those cases, they're polar opposite memories. But in both of those cases, the emotions were strong, right? There was a feeling there, a strong feeling. So it's etched into not only your memory, but also in a certain sense, your way of being, your perceptions, the thoughts that you have, the way you see the world, how you behave, whether you know it or not. It's conditioned you. So you want to be able to self-condition in a positive way. This subject comes off the back of a conversation I had with a very close friend of mine yesterday. And we were talking about this very point. And I made a note here, and I've already kind of explained what I wanted to explain, but you must have experiences that make you feel, not just think. It becomes etched into your memory and experience when you feel it physically and viscerally. Think about not only the examples that I just gave, as far as either trauma or just extremely positive, joyful experiences, but also the experience of scoring a goal, of winning something, of losing something, of seeing your favorite team win or seeing your favorite team lose, or telling somebody that you love them for the first time, or hearing it for the first time, or feeling like somebody finally understands you, or feeling isolated. And any of these experiences, you can see, you can tell that the emotions that are involved is really what provides the experience its salience, its importance, its meaning in a sense. Because remember, for millennia, for actually millions of years, evolving from lower species, we were not thinking beings first. We were feeling beings. We had senses. And as we evolved, and if you look at our closest relatives, the chimpanzees, we have 98% similar DNA, 98%. And the difference in that 2% is what we see all around us with engineering, technology, the creations, philosophy, books, all of that is from the 2%. But, we evolved in our current form a couple of 100,000 years ago, I think by the latest estimations. But the Earth has been around for approximately 3.5 billion years. So I want you to think about how much time our DNA has had to evolve and how originally the species that we evolved from had to be able to survive. And in order for them to survive, they had to be able to react. They had to be able to fit, to feel, to sense things, and to move accordingly. And then over time, there would be learning, but the learning came from what? Came from conditioning. Right? We were conditioned in certain ways through the experience. And there's been a lot of studies done by B.F. Skinner, by other behaviorists, where you expose a stimulus to an animal, the animal responds in a certain way. If you link that stimulus to another stimulus, then that secondary stimulus now provokes the response that the initial stimulus had. So you ring a bell, you present food to a dog, the dog salivates. You ring a bell, you present food to a dog, the dog salivates. Now you ring a bell, the dog will begin to salivate before the food even appears. So you could see that we actually operate in many respects to how we're conditioned. So you want to be able to self-condition. You want to be able to generate emotions within you. That's why you see all of these people who seem like they're all rah-rah. That's why they talk about emotion, because emotion is actually critical to learning. It's actually critical to growth. It's critical. It's not optional. So this video is going to be a short one. And the main takeaway is everything that I teach, all the lessons, the articles that you read from me that I published on my website, these are things that you go through, but you want to go through them in a way that pokes you in certain places that will allow you to feel something good, right? Or, in the case of, I think an article that I wrote related to self-love, I think it was about changing, and it's a very practical article. The last like quarter, 20% is really about self-love and how that ties into non-judgment, compassion, and so on and so forth, to make sure that you're doing the steps properly. Is that effectively what I'm saying is you need to be able to change. I think the article is actually entitled How to Get What You Actually Want, or How to Find Out What You Actually Want. But the entire premise is you need to be able to change the distribution of emotions that you're feeling so that you're generating, by your current actions that are not taking you anywhere, you're framing them in such a way, you're creating experiences that are creating actually more pain in the present, so that way you can actually be compelled to move forward. Because oftentimes a lot of people talk about just the vision, right? Have a great vision. But sometimes the vision is not enough to pull you. You have to have something that's pushing you, something that's painful, that's pushing you away from the present moment. So you could see that both of those two things are very emotionally salient. They're very emotionally powerful. The vision, it's a powerful positive emotion. The fear, the hell, it's a powerful negative emotion. So you're using emotions. You can either use them to create your life or to destroy your life. So you want to use them to create your life. So make sure that whatever you're doing, you're infusing emotions into that experience. And if it's a negative experience, if it's like a negative thing that you're doing or negative thoughts, sometimes it's not a bad idea. And I'm writing an article about this, about negative thinking, to feel into that experience. Because by feeling into that experience, you're allowing the emotion to teach you what it needs to teach you. You're not constantly like rationalizing and justifying and thinking about things and using the 30 or 40 different cognitive biases that we have as human species, right? To just keep yourself trapped in your head. You have to be able to sink down into that feeling and allow that feeling to actually teach you. And it'll teach you as far as keeping you on the path or propelling you forward or making modifications or just taking a different direction, because it's not really the direction you should be taking. That's why oftentimes you see people, they kind of quote unquote need to hit rock bottom, because they need to feel that amount of pain in order for the pendulum to swing in the other direction. Now, hopefully that doesn't happen to you. That's why it's important to be able to generate these powerful negative emotions and positive emotions, so that you can, so your life doesn't have to get to a point where you're just reacting to it emotionally, for you to allow those emotions to propel you. You can actually use them. So allow yourself to feel more emotion, more positive emotions when you have like a small win. When you do something small, however right, give yourself a pat on the back, give yourself a congratulations, give yourself some credit. Consider it as like a small win, because you're self-producing that emotion, that dopamine spike, right? The chemical cascade in your body, you're self-producing that, right? Or if you're falling into negative patterns, you can allow yourself to really think about what kind of life you would create if you were to continue along that pathway, and that'll get you perhaps very disappointed. And sometimes that disappointment there is going to be enough to really keep you paralyzed. That's why it's really important to not only do that, as far as maybe perhaps enhancing the negative emotions over what you're doing, so you could stop doing that thing, but also make sure that you're moving in a direction. You have a direction that you're moving towards, like I always talk about. So you have a true north, however vague. You want to move towards that. So I hope this video was helpful, and it really hammered the point home of the importance of feeling things, of emotions, and how you can use those to really help you in every way, shape, and form, to move you away from something that you don't want to move and towards something that you do. But it's not moving away from yourself. I want to stress this, is that the only way to truly learn from those experiences, those emotions, whether they're positive or negative, whether they're kind of self-manufactured, quote unquote, or just they happen as part of life, it's important to really feel into them, to not avoid them, to not detach from them, to not run away from them. It's really to allow yourself to experience those things, because in those emotions, in those experiences, are where you will get insights, is where you will get clarity of mind, is where you will get self-understanding in many respects. So I hope that was helpful. And I hope this was a great video to kick off the start of your week. And I'm going to leave it there. So I hope this was coherent, this was concise, this was comprehensive in many ways. It was kind of like a bit of a summary. So I think I'm going to write an article on this, but if you have any questions, make sure you leave them down below. If you have any comments, let me know. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel. And yeah, if you want to reach out to me for any reason, you know how to do that. You can either email me, you can DM me through X or through my newsletter as well. So until next time, see you tomorrow.